Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. Ours is a place where dreams take flight, voices are heard, and stories are shared. This is where cultures meet, connections are formed, and ideas are transformed into action. This is your destination for authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations. We're where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover our world of education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our USA Global TV channel and download our USA Global TV app. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. With heartfelt thanks to our executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, music scored by Yifei Tang from Cloud Road Music, creative direction by Paul Garcia, and I'm Al Cini, and I'm very proud to be part of the USA Global TV and Radio family. So join us here at USA Global TV and Radio. Make us your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited. Thank you for being a part of our global community. Let's inspire together.
Hey everybody, welcome to You as a Whole, Body, Mind, and Soul. This is Justin Mirigliani. I'm your host, as I am every week. It's good to have you here this week on a snowy Monday on the East Coast. Today we're going to talk about change. And we all have things we want to change, things that we wish were different, things that we wish we had a better understanding of. And wanting to change is one thing, and actually putting it into practice is the key. And we talk a lot about this in January with New Year's resolutions. And people talk about they want to get in better shape, or they want to start a business, or they want to write a book, whatever it is. And it's not easy to make changes. It really is difficult. And most people, and I've had this happen to me too, we lose our focus and then we wind up not following through with the things that we want to change. And one of the things I learned a long time ago was that to start a new habit, it takes 21 days. So if you could get 21 days in a row under your belt and you repeat the activity, whatever it is, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's eating better, not smoking, whether it's something that you want to do in business, or again, write a book, learn an instrument, learn a martial art, whatever it is, 21 days in a row is the key. You want to be able to get that under your belt. Once you do that, then it's going to be tough to break that habit. Actually, it becomes a habit that's really tough to break. And that's a good thing, because it's a good habit, unlike the bad habits that we have. Over the last, I guess, year plus, I've been going through a lot of changes and seeing things about myself that I did not like, things that I wanted to change. And I have done a lot of it, not done yet. I don't think I'll ever be done. I think it's going to be something that goes on for the rest of my life, but I think everybody's a work in progress. I used to, going back to younger days, when I was in high school, it was so important to me to be bigger and stronger and not be the beanpole that I was. I was a tiny guy. I was pretty thin, probably weighed about 120 pounds in high school. By the time I graduated, I was like, I don't know, maybe 145. So certainly not big, but I wanted to change. I didn't like being scrawny. It just drove me crazy. And I wanted to make sure that that wasn't going to stay that way. So I had to decide how important it was to me, how important it was to make that change to become more muscular. Now, of course, I didn't become a bodybuilder, but I was able to put on muscle and put on weight that I really wanted to do. It was important to me. So what I did was I saved up money and I went and I bought weights, a weight set and a bench. And so many people told me, especially older men, that friends, family members, things like that, that you won't do this for forever. This is going to be a fad. You're gonna do this for a while, and then you're gonna get tired of it. And I told myself that I was not going to allow that to happen, and I didn't. I went downstairs in the basement every day and worked out every day. And now, did I miss some? Sure, of course, that's okay. But for the most part, was I consistent? Absolutely. I really put in the time, put in the effort, and built myself up to something that I was proud of, something that I looked at and said, "Wow, how did I do this? You know, what was it inside me that made me do this?" And it was pure desire. That's really what it was. It was two things. One is wanting to be a certain size, and the other one is not wanting to be weak. Those were the two driving factors. So I did it, and I guess I didn't realize it at the time, but I wound up being stronger than I really should have. Most people naturally, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but it shows you the amount of work that went into it. Most people naturally will never bench press 300 pounds. It just doesn't happen without either A, some sort of um, performance enhancing drugs, or B, a really uncommon drive to do it, a drive that is not what people would call normal. And what I mean by that is the obsession part of it, where in order to get to that level, you don't have much of a choice. You either have to do it as hard as possible or not, and just live with the fact that you're not going to get there. And I did it. I got almost a 400-pound bench press. I leveled off at 385, never was able to push over 400. Don't know if I ever will now at 51 years old and with back damage from a car accident. Might not be in the cards, but I did it because I wanted to change. I did it because I didn't like where I was at that time, and I didn't want to be what I was at that time, and I changed it. I don't think I've always been that. Um, I don't know if I always had the drive to change everything in my life the way I did there. It seemed like the physical stuff was easier for me. I envisioned myself a lot being different, looking bigger. I envisioned that every set that I did, I was going to get just that much bigger, that much stronger. Even if I didn't see it right away, it was going to happen. Every set was just another one. And now I'm trying to do that with other things. I'm trying to do that with the fact that one thing is my temper. Probably a year ago at this time, well, definitely a year ago at this time, and even before that, I let emotion take control a lot. Where if I was angry, I just kind of felt that I had the right to be as angry as I wanted to be and explode if I wanted to explode. Now, I wasn't violent. I didn't beat people up or uh, do anything that was dangerous, but I allowed myself to unload verbally on people. And I'm not saying that there's not a place for that, because there is. I think sometimes you have to. Um, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to unload. I was just doing it way too often, and the amount of anger that I had wasn't commensurate with what was happening. Um, I've been thinking about. I wrote a book already. I haven't published it yet, and it's that's one of the things that I have trouble with too. That I'm trying to change is procrastination. It's not procrastination because I don't feel like doing it. It's procrastination because it feels too hard sometimes. And I'm like, oh, if I do this, if I try too hard, it's just not going to work out. And I really talk myself out of doing things. Um, Again, trying to change that, trying to get to a point where that doesn't happen anymore. And let me just check out the comments here. Hello, Madeline. Madeline checking in. Appreciate it. Yeah, anybody who wants to chat in, you can. Um, so yeah, there are things that I uh, want to do that I just sometimes am not able to do because I'm either afraid or it feels like it's too daunting to be able to do it. And I want that to change. I want that to be different. And I think it will be. It's just a matter of me pushing through again. Last year I've been very open about this. Last year at this time I was spiraling into a very severe depression. And quite frankly, I didn't even know if I wanted to be alive anymore. I was to the point where death seemed like it was going to be a release. Just get it over with. I remember crying and praying at night, to God, please stop my heart, let me go. I don't want to be here anymore. I remember saying things like, let somebody have it who wants it. And then by the time we got into the summertime, and it was just so bad for so long, I was ready to make a change. And to do that, I knew I had to get some serious help. And one of those things was going to the psychiatric ward of a hospital in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania for 7 or 8 days and learn how to change, learn how to be better at resolving things in my own head and resolving things even that had to do with other people in a more constructive way. Now, I'm not perfect at it. People will say, well, did that change everything? No, it didn't change everything, but it's got me on the right path. There are going to be times where there are setbacks when you try to change, where you feel like I made this change, so I should never revert back to what I was before, that there's never going to be a time where I slip back. And a lot of times when I would slip back, whether it was physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever it was, I felt like I lost, so I gave up. And then it took a long time to try to get back in. And it was almost like if I didn't conquer this 100%, then I didn't conquer it at all. So why even bother trying to push through it? And that was a mistake that I made a lot as I gotten older. Now I'm 51 years old. So I don't want to say it's too late because it's not, but it's disappointing, I guess, that I didn't think of this stuff before, that I didn't have this figured out a long time ago. But it is what it is, and all I could do is go forward. I can't change what happened in the past, how I acted, how I reacted, how other people related to me, how they didn't relate to me, all the different things um, that I can't control anymore. But I can control what I do going forward. Now, with that said, when I go backwards sometimes, and over the last couple of days, to be honest, I've had a little bit of feelings of depression. Um, Certainly not to the level that it was last year, but some depression, feelings of, did I really get over it? Waiting for the other shoe to drop. Is this real? Did I really change, or is it just I hoped I changed and was able to ride a wave? But I keep telling myself that even though the last couple of days have been a little bit tough, I'm not back where I was last year. It's just a minor setback. It's not that I am spiraling out of control and heading towards, a breakdown. No. I don't like to feel depressed. I don't like to feel sad. Nobody does. I don't think there's anybody who would say, yeah, let's feel sad today. But I'm trying to remember that that doesn't take away from what I did last year to get myself better. That even if I have a couple of bad days or if I have a bad week or even a bad 2 weeks, that doesn't mean that I destroyed all of the progress that I made, months ago, a year ago. And I got to keep taking that with me. I got to keep remembering that. And sometimes it's hard to remember that. Sometimes it's like you think, well, I should have had this under control completely. I don't know if it works that way. In fact, I'm pretty sure it doesn't work that way. And I try to remind myself how I did it physically too, because you have mental editing. I think we all do it. I know we all do it. And mental editing is when you just remember the good stuff. You don't remember the horrible things or the terrible things or the things that were made you feel terrible. So in the gym, I would, especially early on, if I didn't progress right away, I would get angry with myself because there was progression, and then you plateau a little bit. And then it takes a little while to get through that plateau. Or sometimes you get a little weaker. So if you're, let's say when I was bench pressing 225 pounds, I might have been able to do it twice. I remember I did it 5 times, and then a week later, I only did it twice. And I remember being really angry with myself. Like, how do you go backwards? All that work for nothing because you got it 5 times last week, but this week you're down to 2. What's wrong with you? How are you feeling? And it's just could be anything. It could be that your body's tired. It could be you overtrained before. It could be that you didn't eat right, you didn't get enough sleep, whatever it is. But that's part of the game. You're going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. And the same thing with other things, not just physical, but mental, spiritual. There are things that I don't like about myself from prior relationships that I have a choice. I could say, well, that's just me. That's who I am. So going forward, I'm not going to try to fix it because that's just who I am. And therefore, either take me or leave me. Or the opposite, I could say, well, those are things that I did fail in prior relationships, and not just romantic relationships, but friend relationships and all kinds of different relationships. So I could say, that's just the way it was, and I'll always be that way. Or I could literally say, I'm going to change this. I'm not going to be what I was before going forward. That's all we can do. I don't have any other choices. Well, I do, I guess. I have a choice. I could stay where I was or not. And I'm choosing not to. Doesn't mean I'm going to be perfect at it. I'm still going to screw up once in a while. And I think that's where I don't give myself enough grace because I think once I've screwed up, I'm starting over from ground zero. And that's not true. It certainly isn't true. It's just we stumble. And when we stumble, we can choose to get up or we can choose to stay down. And I hope that I keep choosing to get up. I think I will. I think I learned that a lot over the last year. Um, one thing I noticed about my anger that I wanted to change was when I would get super angry at somebody else. I would look at them and be disgusted or really feel like I don't want to use the word hate, but I really vehemently dislike them and just didn't want to be around them at all. A lot of the time that I was angry at them, I was actually angry at myself because I saw traits in them that I could not stand about myself. And the more I saw it in them, the more I guess hate would be the word. I hated them. Yeah, maybe hate is the word. But I didn't hate them. I hated myself. So I'd look at these people with these same traits that I had, and it drove me crazy because they were a mirror and they were showing me this is what you don't like about yourself. You're seeing it in somebody else, and it's driving you crazy. I didn't want to admit that though. I was just like, well, it's their fault. It's all their fault because they're this way. And it wasn't. It wasn't. If I was being honest with myself, which I wasn't, I would have known that I needed to change because what I really hated was what I saw in me. And what do they call it? Transference, I guess. I was transferring it to other people. And since I stopped doing that as much, and I'm not, again, not saying I'm perfect at it, but I do it much less. Since I'm better at it, I'm less angry at myself. I don't get as angry, and I say to myself, "All right, you didn't like this, but that doesn't mean it's a life sentence. You can fix it, you can change it, and you can be what you want to be. What you can't be is perfect." I don't have the gear to go part way. I just don't. And maybe that's part of the thing I need to change. I don't know. But I don't do things halfway. If I go halfway, then I quit. I always said this if I have passion for something, I have a chance to be successful. It doesn't mean I will be successful, but there's a chance. If I don't have passion for it, there's not a chance in the world it's going to be successful. Can't happen because I just don't have the drive to do it then. Some people can turn it on, turn it off. I just don't have that switch. It's either full bore or nothing for me. I part of me is proud to be that way, and another part of me says, "What are you doing? Why can't you do things and just do them because you like to do them, not because you have to excel at everything?" And it's tough. It's tough to stop doing that when that's ingrained in your head for a long time. And I don't know, maybe it'll change. I don't know. I get angry. Um, I grew up with people in South Philadelphia who are good people, but there's no way around it. There was racism in the city. When neighbors would say things that were openly racist. And I remember there was an interview with a guy that he was the father of an athlete. And the athlete got in trouble for pretty overt racist language and fighting with people and attacking them because he felt the racism, and he felt it was just part of who he was. And when they interviewed the father said, "Well, if I had been in his position, I would have done the same thing." And I'm like, "Wow, okay." And then he said, "That's just the way we were brought up. It may not be right, but that's the way we were brought up." And I'm thinking to myself, really? That's how it works? Because even if you know something's not right, but you were taught that or you were brought up in that, that means that you can keep doing it? No. If you know it's wrong, why would you just say, "Well, that's just me. I mean, that's who I am." You know, all right, fine. I'm a little racist, but that's just who I am. I'm not gonna. I can't change that. I've always been that way. Well, sure you can. Bruce Hornsby's song. That's just the way it is. That line, "Hey, little boy, you can't go where the others go because you don't look like they do." And then, "Hey, old man, how can you stand to think that way? Did you really think about it before you made the rules?" That's what Bruce Hornsby's talking about. Well, that's the way I was brought up. That's the way it is. I don't need to change because that's just whether it's right or wrong. That's who I am. I don't. You don't get a pass with that. You really don't. Whatever you believe. Maybe it's toughness. If somebody cuts me off in the car, I grew up learning that you don't let anybody take advantage of you. So you have the right to rip them out of the car and beat them up. Well, you don't. The law tells you that you don't. You're going to spend time in prison if you do it. You can't just say, "Well, yeah, but that's what I learned. That's me. That's how I was brought up. So if I was brought up that way, then I have the right to be who I am." Well, to some extent, you do have the right to be who you are, but then don't forget, people have the right to react to who you are. I don't have to be friendly with somebody who is racist. I don't. Or I could say, "Listen, if you're gonna act that way, I won't be here while you do it." I mean, if you think that you have the right to be that way, you can do what you want, but not if I'm here. If I'm here and you do it, I'm just going to leave. That's all. Can they change? Yeah, they can, but they got to be willing to change. It's not just good enough to say, "I know it's wrong, but that's just who I am." You say, "That's wrong. I've been like this for a long time, but what can I do to try to get out of it?" And again, I'm not saying that they're going to be perfect at it right away. If that's the issue, if racism is the issue, I'm not saying they're going to go from feeling racist tendencies and having racist tendencies to then all of a sudden not have any of them at all. It probably is a process where they little by little get better. Now, I'm not saying that's a great thing. It'd be nice if they could flip a switch, but let's be honest, people are human. They're not going to be able to just turn on and turn off things that were ingrained in them over time. but you don't get a pass. You don't get a chance to say, well, I'm going to be this way forever because that's just the way it was. No, I don't buy it. And I don't buy it for myself either. Whether, you know, if a friend, this has happened several times, if friends in the past would do something that was, not a stab in the back, I guess I would say something that I thought they should do to support me, or things that um, that happened that I thought shouldn't have happened. I felt like I was disrespected. I would kill the relationship. I would just say, all right, then this is it, done. The whole "you're dead to me" type of thing. And now I look back and I think, why was it that big of a deal? Why did it matter that much? Was it really them, or was it me? Did I feel disrespected to the point where the only way I could get respect was to make them pay? And one way to make them pay is to remove my friendship from them and just say, yeah, that's it, you're dead to me. Now, where do you draw the line between self-respect and not going over the line where you're so angry about everything that you destroy relationships that otherwise are good? I don't know. I don't know where that line is all the time. I'm trying to learn it. I'm trying to figure out where it is. If I get angry, I'm trying to reframe it. That's one of the things we learned in the hospital, to reframe things. I don't have to like what everybody does, but I also don't have to get to the point where it drives me crazy. I have a weather page that I've been doing for years, and I mostly do forecasting along the East Coast, Philadelphia area, Washington up to Maine for the most part. And yesterday was a big day because we had a huge blizzard on the East Coast that went right up from Philadelphia all the way up. But anyway, somebody was angry at me for a post that I made because he didn't like it. And it had to do with snow. I won't get into the whole thing. And the old me was inside. And when I read it, I wanted to get back so bad. I just wanted to go and unload on him and just rip him apart verbally. And then I didn't. But then he said things that I couldn't ignore. He was calling me names, but when he was doing it, which is fine, I don't care. It's not a big deal, but it is a big deal when he was saying things that were derogatory about special needs people, and he was calling me names that you ride the short bus and things that really annoyed me. And I shot a video and I told the people who were following the page that if anybody does this, you're out, you're gone. I didn't curse, I didn't scream, I didn't yell, but I was very adamant and emphatic that you're not going to do it there. You're not on my page. Now, if you want to start your own page and you want to get a following and you want to say those things, I can't stop you. Nobody can stop you. But the fallout, you're not immune to that. It's funny when people say it's my First Amendment right to say whatever I want. Okay, you have a First Amendment right to say what you want, but the First Amendment doesn't protect you from how people will react to what you say. So if you say something that is offensive, the First Amendment doesn't give you the right to say, well, everybody else can't be upset by it. It doesn't work that way. I've heard people say to me, well, you're taking away my First Amendment right because you won't do business with me, or you won't work with me in this capacity or that capacity because of things I said. Well, yeah, I have the right to do that. I don't have to work with everybody. That's not discriminatory. That's based on behavior. That's not based on anything that anybody can't change. You can change your behavior. You can't change who you are, your sexual orientation, I mean, I guess you could change your religion, but you don't have to. I mean, that's your decision. You can't change your race. I'm Italian. I can never not be Italian. It's just, it is what it is. If people don't like Italians, then that's fine. But I don't have to be their friend, is what I'm getting at. They have the right to feel the way they feel, but I have the right to not want to be in their presence either. So I'm trying to change the things that I really need to change. In business, I was terrible, terrible, terrible at sales. Never was able to feel comfortable to be able to say, this is what I have to offer you, and you should buy it because I can change your life. And when I say I could change your life, I could teach you skills that are very marketable, like teaching how to use computer programs, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all these, which is used around the world, not just in corporate America, but all over the place. And soft skills, conflict management, time management, leadership. These are skills that you have to have. If you want to get ahead in corporate America, now, if you don't care, that's fine. You don't have to, but if you want to get ahead, you have to know how to do these things. And my problem was I didn't know how to get that across. I always thought, oh, if I say those things, people are going to think I'm conceited, or they're going to think that, I want to be the hero, or in my head, I was already crafting what they were going to think about me if I tried to sell myself. Now I'm going to do the best I can with that. Now, I'm not great at it. I still get the anxiety sweats and uh, have the my heart racing and my stomach churning whenever I get to a position where I have to try to sell something. Because in my mind, I think, how would I react to this? And a lot of times I'm like, oh, here goes another salesperson. So I have to change that. How do you change it? You just keep trying it. And you don't say, well, I failed last time, so next time is going to be another failure. No, it's just you swing the bat one more time. You get 3 strikes, right? So you keep fouling off pitches until you finally get the one you want to hit. And that's what I'm doing. I'm fouling off pitches. I don't know if my business will ever restart to the level it was, or actually grow. It might. I don't know. But now I'm thinking to myself, sell, baby, because there's no reason not to. Do I really think that I could change people's lives with what I teach? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. It's not pie in the sky. It's not me thinking that I'm some great hero or whatever. It's not. It actually is the fact that these are skills that people need in their lives. We talked about AI 2 weeks ago and how AI is changing things. And I'm hearing people all the time when I talk about training AI. I never want to learn that. I have no desire to learn that. Never going to be a part of AI. That's all stuff that doesn't mean anything to me. 30 years ago in 1996, people were saying the same thing about email. Not going to need email. It's not necessary. We have snail mail. People just I never want to get into that email thing. How many people have email today? Or I should say it backwards. How many people don't have email today? I'm talking about 2%, maybe 5% tops of people who don't have email. So 95 to 98% of people today have email. So obviously most of those people who had no desire to learn about the internet, no desire to learn about email, now it's a part of their everyday lives. Guess what? That's what AI is going to be. But yet, people don't see the value of it. So my change is trying to sell them on the idea, and it's not snake oil, sell them on the idea that you need this, because you do. So my change is pushing more and getting out of the comfort zone of saying, well, I don't want to talk about myself because it's too uncomfortable and I don't like it. It makes me feel too vulnerable, I guess. And then those folks who are saying, no, never, 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 for AI, they got to decide whether they're going to change too. And are they going to say, well, look, this is what the world is now. And this is what I have to change to. We all have a choice. We could either do it or not do it. Now, what price will you pay? What's more costly? Is it more costly to stay put and stay the way you are? Or is it more costly to change? I think in a lot of cases, it's more costly to stay put and not change the way you are. And when I say costly, it's not just money, peace of mind, family time, relaxation time, you know, being successful in the things that you want to be successful in. Yeah, I would love to be successful in filmmaking, especially documentaries, but I have to get to that point first. I have to have money to do it. I need capital to get that done. And I know that. And the only way to do that is to make money through business. So I'm trying to change, trying to sell myself more. So like I said, a lot of the things that upset me the most in other people were the things that I saw in them that I hated about myself. And the more I saw it, the more I hated them. But I really hated me. Looked at them and saw the mirror. Didn't want to admit it. Never would admit it. But that's what it is. And that's what it was. In order to change, I have to allow myself to know that it's going to take time to accept all the things about myself that I don't really love. Things about myself that make me feel uncomfortable, make me feel like I'm not as good of a person that I should be. The things that I feel selfish about, things that I feel guilty about. Guilt is a killer. It really is. I lived my whole life in guilt up until about 6 months ago through extensive therapy, extensive work on my part to not be completely consumed by guilt. It really does tear you apart. It is a strain on you in so many ways, especially mentally as a human being, and then also even physically. You'd be surprised how bad symptoms are of constant stress. Some people think mental illness or mental anguish is just mental. It's not. It's not being able to sleep, not being able to motivate yourself to get up, go to the gym, those things. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't still happen where I feel like I don't want to do it, but I'm trying to push myself through when I have problems. And then other times I feel great. In all honesty, this is probably the best I felt in a very long time. But it was a process. It took a lot of work. And it took a lot of reminding myself that one slip up, two slip ups, three slip ups is not you're starting over at the gate. It's just you stumbled. You get up, you're going to push forward again. And hopefully, little by little, you're going to change the things that you want to change. I'm not unique. If I can do these things, everybody watching the show can do these things. There's nothing special about me or my ability to change or my mindset that is any different than anybody else's. I don't have magic tricks. I don't do anything special. So if I can do it, you can do it. There is it's always been this way, so it always has to be this way. If there are things that you like about yourself, the way you've done things before, keep doing it. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as it's good for you, good for other people, that's great. But if there's something about yourself that you don't like, or something that can be offensive to other people, change it. You're not stuck. You can change it. All right. I want to thank everybody for being here this week. Appreciate it. We will be back next week, and hope you enjoy the weather wherever you are. Here along the East Coast, where I'm enjoying the cold anyway. But again, thank you so much for being here, for listening, and hope to see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA-Global-TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.